Greetings. Welcome back, or welcome to International Women's Health and Human Rights. This is a MOOC that we have done twice before, in January of 2014 and July and August of 2014. And now, beginning again in the new year, at the end of January, beginning of February, we look forward to the next 10 weeks as we go through our course. In the July and August session, we had more than 8,000 people enrolled in the English edition and another 4,000 in a Chinese version. And this time we are steadily on our way to similar numbers. So we're looking forward very much to your participation in this MOOC. In July and August, we had people participating from 140 different countries around the world, and 2/3 of them were from countries outside North America. If your friends are watching and they haven't enrolled yet, they can go to a companion website, which is entitled www.internationalwomenshealth.org. And there they can click on English or Chinese and enroll in this class. Sometime in the next 4 or 5 months, we're not sure when, we are planning really, to put the MOOC up in Spanish. And a good number of you, I think, will be pleased with that, because I notice on the forums, on Piazza, on our current class, there are many people introducing themselves and interacting on the topics in Spanish. It's not too late for people to enroll, so feel free to tell your friends if they would like to join the class, they can enroll through internationalwomenshealth.org. And as I said, we hope to put it up in Spanish. In the meantime, there are people participating in this MOOC who have introduced themselves on our discussion forum. Our discussion forum is called Piazza, and you connect to it after you enroll in order to participate actively, interacting with people around the world. And I hope that you'll do that, because I am very, very excited by what I saw in the last 2 days as I reviewed the comments and posts on our Piazza forum. I took a couple of hours and I looked through the many, many posts from people who were introducing themselves from one country and then another and then another, and then people who were responding to those introductions by saying, "I'd like to be in a group with you. Can we create a group?" And it was incredibly exciting to see that people around the world are connecting. And don't ask me the miracle of the internet, but I do know that you can join our MOOC, go on to Piazza, introduce yourself, and then indicate whether you'd like to join a group. And a way to learn how to interact with the participants on this MOOC is to go back to the main page of our MOOC, and there's a tab up at the top that says Interact with IWHHR, which means Interact with International Women's Health and Human Rights. And when you click on that, it takes you to another page, which will ultimately very quickly take you to our companion website and a discussion of interaction, the ways you can interact. You can join a group to meet every week and get to know the group over the weeks of the class and beyond, or you can simply indicate that you're interested in joining a group, and then a list of group meetings will be listed, and you can choose which time you would like to be included, and you will be brought into a group that is kind of ongoing. As I said, don't ask me how this works. I'm not the technical person, but we have some wonderful technical people involved with this MOOC. One is a person named Yasmin, who has put a post on the Piazza site, which is our discussion site. She's put a post there urging you to be in touch with her if you have problems connecting to groups. She is connected to an entity called Talkabout. Talkabout, as in walkabout, except for a T, Talkabout. And Talkabout allows us to join in small groups online seeing each other online and to have a chat. So I plan over the weekend in California in 2 or 3 days, to drop in on some of the groups that will be meeting over the weekend. So I look forward to seeing some of you directly, if I can figure out how to do it. Now, this is called tea time. And when I begin my tea times, I always start with a little cup of tea. I'm holding my tea up. This cup is one of my mother's cups. I always start these with a cup, the sessions, I start them with a cup from my mother. She had a collection of lovely, simple teacups, very pretty ones. And she and I, and others of our family, would often sit down in the afternoon after we got home from school and have a nice cup of tea. And if things were worrying us, my mother would always say, let's have a nice cup of tea. And after that, everything seemed a lot better. So I tend to have a habit of stopping and having tea with my family and my friends, and often I use my mother's beautiful teacups. So as the weeks go by, I will try to find more and more unusual teacups to have my tea with you on a weekly basis. I'm teaching this course at Stanford in real terms, real life live class this quarter, at the same time as it's going up on this MOOC. And that should be interesting because we're going to try to see if my students might participate in some of the meetings online worldwide during the next few weeks. But let me just say something about this course. The online course is very rich. There are many resources included in this course. I try to include many resources in my class at Stanford, but on the internet, it's possible to link to so many other very rich resources that we do during this class. And I hope that you will take advantage of it very actively, whether you are taking the class for a statement of accomplishment or just taking the class because you're interested and would like to drop in on it every now and then or all the time. If you want to take the class for a statement of accomplishment, please read very carefully the requirements for the statement of accomplishment, because there are some things you need to do as you go along through the weeks, answering quizzes, doing a few projects, participating in some of the meetings, and so on. But if you want a statement of accomplishment, make sure you read the paragraph about requirements for a statement of accomplishment very carefully. And if you don't, it doesn't matter. As I say, everyone is welcome to take the class for nothing and enjoy the rich resources that we've been able to bring together from many different countries and from many parts of the web. We'll be very interested in your reactions to the course. We're especially interested, as you gather from the creation of groups and the use of Talkabout, we're especially interested in people connecting with each other, talking about the issues, getting to hear the perspectives of people who are closer to these issues than others may be. So I think it will be a very complicated kind of pen pal situation. When I was young, we children were linked by letter to a pen pal. And I remember when I was in school, my pen pal was a guy named Clive, and he was in England. And we would write short letters back and forth to each other, telling each other what our lives were like. I was living in New Zealand at the time. But letters were slow. Every month or so, we would have an interaction. Now, with the wonderful new kind of pen pal arrangement on this MOOC, you can have interactions a lot of the time and rather quickly. So we make use of the internet, which is a miracle, to be in touch, to share our experiences, to share our questions. We have many very experienced people taking this course. As I was reading through the Piazza Forum the other day, I realized that I read a couple of messages from two young women. One was in high school in Massachusetts, the other in high school, I think in Delhi, and they hope to connect. So we have high school children here taking this MOOC, but we also have physicians, lawyers, people who are very experienced in this field. So as questions are raised on the forums, you're likely to be hearing from me, members of our volunteer team, but also hearing from people who are themselves participants in this MOOC and have special expertise to share. So I do hope that you will actively participate in the forums, because that connection, those connections are vital, really, as we move forward, not just for this course, but as we move forward in the world, trying to understand these issues more deeply and more broadly, and to come together to figure out how we can make this a better world. With that, let me take another sip of my tea. Would you let me know on the forums what you would like to hear from me during these tea times? I'll be recording tea times. Incidentally, I'm recording this in my office at home, though that explains the baskets and the books and things. Let me know if you'd like me to respond to some questions or thoughts of yours. And our volunteers who check the forums all the time will send me those messages, and I will try to respond as best I can during these tea times. So let me end here and wish you a very happy time on our MOOC. I hope you enjoy it. And I'll be recording again in a week or 10 days. You'll hear about it on the MOOC, and we'll let you know when the tea times are going up. So thank you very much for joining us. I hope you'll enjoy this class, and I look forward to being in touch in a week or two. Thank you.